It's Mario Lloyd, also known as Real Estate Guru PK, with the Realist Podcast. On the Realist Podcast, we talk about how to make a dollar, how to keep a dollar, and we touch on hot topics. We're launching my Patreon with my whole real estate portfolio, and you're also going to get the podcast before it goes out on all the platforms. You can find me on Instagram at Real Estate Guru PK. You can find me on YouTube at Real Estate Guru PK. And you can find my podcast on Instagram, The Realist Podcast. How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode. We got a special guest with us. We got Miss Natasha. How you doing?
Hey, how are you? I'm happy to be here all the way from Miami.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. How was your flight?
It was beautiful.
Beautiful?
I slept the whole way, to be honest.
Oh,
So I
really?
got some rest, yeah.
I cannot sleep on airplanes at all.
I can. I slept like a baby.
That's really good.
I woke up in time for the snack, though.
So, I usually start all my guests with their journey,
Mhm.
like how they started, like on the odd jobs, like getting fired, quitting, and then how you became an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I think my overall journey is unique in some aspects because I was on a track called Do the Right Thing, in my opinion. I went to college, got my master's degree, went home, got a good job with the government, right? So I was set to climb the corporate ladder and just do that whole thing. The issue is that I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My father was an entrepreneur, my mother was an entrepreneur. So early on in my career, by career, I was a licensed clinical social worker. I had a master's from Columbia University in social work, so I was working in the community. My last formal job was at the Miami VA healthcare system, but I always had this like itching to be an entrepreneur because that was what was in my blood, you know? So as entrepreneurs, you kind of go from one thing to another. So I definitely consider myself a serial entrepreneur, and I've owned things in sort of different sectors. I've had a mental health agency, I've had a beauty company, and now I own and manage a company called Natasha Tax and Credit, where I help individuals and business owners and entrepreneurs just manage their paperwork, everything from credit to taxes to business development and structure.
Okay. So when people reach out to you to fix their credit, how do you start? How you start by fixing their credit?
Okay, what I've noticed is a trend that people have decent to good credit, right? Because we don't start with bad credit. People have good to decent credit, but then something happens. Their student loans go into default, they get sick and can't work, they get a divorce, a child goes off, something happens, right? So maybe they have 5, 10 credit cards in good standing, and all of a sudden they're all in collections now or behind and they don't know what to do. Okay. So the first step with any client is to like come to the table and let's see what's actually on your credit. Because unbeknownst to a lot of people, maybe even you, like people are sometimes afraid to even look at the report, to look at the score, to like look at that history of wrongdoing. And I think sometimes there's some guilt and shame there. So on the front end, my job is to say, hey, this is what's on your credit. This is what this means. And this can be removed via this, just to elucidate the situation and make them feel like, hey, it's not a hopeless situation and this too can come around.
What does Credit Karma work? Is that cool?
Okay, Credit Karma uses a Vantage score. Okay, most banks and lending institutions use a FICO score, which is a little bit more stringent in terms of how you generate a score. So Credit Karma, I call like a quick and dirty way to just kind of look at your credit and get a sense of what's on there, but it's not going to be your score. It's more so of an inflated score. The other problem with Credit Karma, as you know, is that they only show 2 of the 3 bureaus. They only show Equifax and TransUnion. So if I'm really trying to look at your credit and assess everything that's on there, this just isn't a valid tool. So when people come to me to get credit repair, the first thing I have to do with them is say, hey, so here's my affiliate link, sign up for my free score now, Identity IQ or Smart Credit, just so I can pull all 3 FICO scores from the 3 credit bureaus and get a full picture of what's on your credit.
What if they got like child support on the credit?
Yeah, that's something newly reporting on credit, and that too can be removed because it's not under public records. It's just like a collection account.
So is that like a process?
It's a process. So the dispute process, there are 3 main ways to dispute. There's factual dispute, there's a consumer law dispute, and then there's like identity theft. Most people have something inaccurate on their credit or outdated. So the first step in credit repair is always to like clean up your profile, like the demographic information. So there's only the meat and potatoes. So like if people have 3 to 5 jobs on there, that looks bad. If people have 5 different name variations, maybe they've been married or divorced. Maybe they've lived at all these different places. It just doesn't look good, right? Because if I'm a lender looking at your profile and I want to extend you $20,000, okay, why do you have 5 jobs on your credit? Why do you have 4 addresses? And why do you have 3 different name variations? Because my goal as a lender is to collect my money back.
So you need to make it easy for them to find you is what you're saying.
Exactly.
So if you just have one job, then that's a good thing the whole time?
Really, your credit repair should be very clean and only contain the meat and potatoes. So I wouldn't even list a job on my credit. I would have one name, okay, one address, and really I wouldn't even put an employer because it's not really relevant.
It's not important?
It's not important.
To the people that they act like they're making more than what they really make, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
What you mean by that?
Like, say they're making $50,000, they making $100,000
on the application.
Yes.
Okay.
If they're applying for a credit card.
Okay, so of course I can't advocate for bank and application and wire fraud. However, when you're going for funding, it's recommended that you are making around between, I would say, $87,000 and about $100,000, because generally a lending institution is going to loan you about 20 to 30% of what you bring in. And remember, you also put how much you pay in rent. So they're going to put how much you stated as your income minus your rent, and that's how much you really have available to pay bills back.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah. So, and what's important is that when they ask for income, a lot of people misinterpret that question because they're actually asking for your entire household issue. So if you have spouse, kids, parents living with you, all of that income should be accounted for on a personal business application.
Like CDs, stocks?
Everything. And they usually ask if you have bank accounts, if you have assets, because they want to, remember, their goal is just to make sure you pay back the money.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it could even be, if you live with your parents, it could be your parents?
Of course. Like anybody in the household, the combined income.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
What if they have an LLC and they got like a lot of people on an LLC?
Like how many people? Right, because it really, a LLC is a pass-through. It really should be one person.
Just one person?
I mean, ideally,
like for instance, like every time somebody's trying to buy a property, they hit me up and they're like, they're wholesalers and they're like, we're like a big LLC and there's 2, if I don't buy the house, I'll get somebody else that'll buy the house that's on my LLC. So that wouldn't work out, correct? If they're trying to get like a business credit card?
Okay, so this is how it works with the business credit card. You're going to have an operating agreement in place for that organization, right? And that operating agreement is going to spell out who is what percent of what. Whoever owns the majority stake of that LLC is the one who has to guarantee that business loan. So let's say Mario and Natasha open up a business today, right? You're 80% owner, I'm 20%. Any funds that the business got will be guaranteed by you because you're the majority stake owner.
The grantor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's fine.
So that's something to think about. And it could be a positive edge because maybe you want to partner with somebody and they don't have the good credit. So you can go ahead and be the guarantor and sign and get it done.
Okay, I see that. I see what you're saying. What do you say if I want to build credit for my son? Like, how do you think I should go about that?
How old is he?
6 years old.
If you're super responsible and you know you pay everything on time, you got every card on auto pay, from now you can add him to, let's say, one credit card and it can start building up. Some people, I was just watching a video about this, say wait until he's 16, 17, because if something goes wrong with the credit card, you don't want to have a late payment that reports to his history. But we can kind of control what happens a lot of times. So if you know you have a good standing card on auto pay, you can go ahead and add him as an authorized user. So by the time he's 18, he'll have like 11, 12 years of credit history, and he'll be able to take off with a credit union with a 20, 30,000 limit on day one.
Okay, that's cool. I see what you're saying. I think I'll do that.
Yeah, it's highly recommended.
Okay, that's cool. So can we get on real estate?
Of course. I love real estate.
So what was your introduction into real estate?
Okay, so I come from a I always tell people this. I come from a wealthy yet ghetto family, and when I say this, I mean that I'm a millionaire in terms of real estate, like my equity, but I'm not the first person in my family to touch a mill. But what happens is, family conflict, people can't get along, lack of estate planning, lack of insurance policy. Like we lose the property, So the very first property, and this is important. I remember I had a good job. I had come out of school. I had a good W-2 because, that's important in the pre-qualification process. Nobody in my family even mentioned buying real estate, which looking back, I find very weird. Like,
how old was you when you were during this period of time?
I'm 41 now. I would say when I first bought my first piece of property, I was in my 30s. I was like 34, 33.
That's a good age.
Yeah, but no one in my family had talked to me like you should buy real estate for some reason. Because I was out there in Miami renting, apartments and condos, financing cars, all this BS, but I owned nothing. So what hit me one day, because I was running my business and I was doing maybe $250 a year. And I'm thinking to myself, Natasha, how are you going to get out of this? Like, you make money and you spend money. You make money and you spend money. You make money, you buy a new car. You make money, you go on vacation. And you know that saying, even if you win the rat race, you're still a rat.
Yeah.
So I thought about that and I was like, you got to get some assets, because the other thing is that you don't have a lot of hours or years in the Social Security system. So when it comes time to retire, you're not going to have this big time Social Security check to depend on. So I was like, okay, my vision is when I'm 80, I can go to property 1, 2, 3, 4, collect my rent, and then that would be essentially my retirement because I don't have a Social Security to look forward to, So my first purchase was a duplex in an area of Miami called Liberty City, which is in the process of slowly being gentrified. So it was a multifamily, which was a good move. I never moved into the property, so from day one, I was monetizing the property.
Did you have to put money down?
Yes, I actually got a hard money loan, and if my memory serves me correctly, I put about $60,000 down cash to close.
How many doors is?
Only 2, a duplex.
Oh, just 2? That's not bad. Okay.
And the purchase price was $180, but I got a hard money loan because at that time I was already self-employed, kind of underreporting my income. So I had to do a hard money loan.
What was the ARV?
Oh, well, I can tell you right now, the property's probably worth $550.
$550?
Yeah, and I paid $180.
So like double, more than double?
Maybe even kind of tripled. Because it's in good condition, but I could improve the landscaping and, I could do more. So that was my first purchase, which was stressful. My first time ever managing properties, dealing with tenants, leasing. Somewhere along the process, I decided to become a real estate agent because I'm like, okay, it would help me in terms of the closing and the commissions to kind of keep that money in my pocket. I also went on to become a broker just to have it and just to have the working knowledge. So from there, I already knew I wanted then I got this idea in my mind, okay, I want $1 million worth of real estate. That was like my benchmark and my goalpost. So from there, I ended up buying a condo off Biscayne, if you know Miami. From there, I purchased the house again, kind of in the Liberty City area. I was looking at a triplex earlier this year, but it had some cast iron plumbing, and I ended up backing out of the deal. But I kind of want to end up with somewhere between 7 to 10 doors. But as you know, management isn't easy.
So you manage them?
I managed, and it's only 4 units. So I manage the units myself. Now, I've gotten a lot of flack from my colleagues from this because they're like, Natasha, you need to have somebody else do it. But my perspective is that I need to learn and understand what's going on, right? Because any property manager can come in and start charging me all these fees for all this stuff. Oh yeah, something simple in the toilet, you know, that little thing, that's $150. When I could get my handyman out there for $20. You know what I mean? So I wanted to see like what all went into it, what breaks in a year, what you know, so I could just kind of have that hands-on experience. Because when I do hand this over, which I'm trying to do right now, I just want to be clear and not get ripped off, because I've heard nightmare stories about management agencies just overcharging for repairs and maintenance. They love when the tenant moves because they get to collect their month's rent. And of course, as a landlord, your goal is to pocket as much money because you have so many expenses between insurance in Miami is sky high right now. Taxes is sky high right now. And just maintaining property is expensive between lawn care, roof maintenance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know?
Okay. What was your worst eviction?
My worst eviction was this guy who I had moved in, and you know, he was a nice guy. He was from Central or South America with his family. In Miami, we have a large Hispanic demographic, and we have a lot of Hispanic guys who do construction, you know, so it's not an odd thing. You might have a group of guys and their girlfriends, or like when I say group, maybe 3 guys were in a 3-bedroom, and then they just work all day. They leave maybe 5, 6 in the morning. They come home 4 or 5 in the evening. Well, long story short, this guy moved in maybe with a group of 4. I guess the other 2 or whoever moved to Texas to do some work, and so it was just him. He kind of fell behind, wasn't getting jobs. And I kind of try to work with people because, you know, renting is not necessarily a walk in the park to find a qualified person. But at some point, I started to realize that this person is manipulating me and has no intention on paying the rent. I started to get these long texts and story after story. And I'm like, Natasha, look at the writing on the wall. This man is not going to pay your rent. So I commenced the eviction process, which, you know, isn't immediate, but does happen. So on the big day, you know, where the sheriff meets you out there, you go change the locks, you got to manually move their things out. I get there, the girlfriend is there with their newborn baby. I'm there with the colleague, and we're charged with changing the locks and moving all their stuff out. She calls him, he shows up frantic. What does he do? He calls the police. From there, it's like a whole stand down situation where the police come and try to figure things out, but the sheriff had just left from posting the note, so they knew, okay, this is a formal eviction. He kind of tried to throw a tantrum, didn't necessarily want to help move his own stuff outside. So like literally me and my staff had to move everything outside. Like
you was doing that?
Me, Natasha, like with a sweatsuit on, moving mattresses, like dragging mattresses, dressers, all their stuff into the lawn. He called the police. The police told him, hey, you got to move. It's true. It's happening. And he just was in denial. When he moved, I noticed this like huge device on the side of the house that like nobody could carry off the property. So upon further investigation, it was some kind of a generator where it seems like he was going to rewire the whole property and have it run off the generator so he wouldn't have to pay the lights. So this blew my mind that like, bro, you're going to like, this was the whole thing was crazy, you know? And just this idea that you're going to kind of live here indefinitely, send me these text messages to me to kind of throw me off and just stay in my property long term. So long story short, we put him out, changed the locks, and it was over.
I had a tenant like that.
Yeah.
She just kept on giving me the runaround.
Yeah. And so what I've learned now is like, I don't play the game. Like I don't play the back and forth text game. I don't get angry. I had another nightmare. I forgot about this one. This man harassed me, sent me negative messages, always, oh, I'm going to report you here, I'm going to report you there. And then I had a brother who had passed around the eviction, and I guess he got word that my brother had passed. He sent me a text, "That's why your brother died." I mean, just a real like nasty psychopath, you know? Then after he moved, he called the city on me. Then he sent me a text, "Oh, I'm going to put a lien against your property." So what I've learned now is that, hey, the rules are the rules are the rules. When I see a problem on the front end, I just cut it and start the eviction process, which I just did with another tenant right now, because kind of like the longer you let it drag out, I've learned the more of the liability rests on you, because the judge could look at it and say, "Well, why didn't you move on this earlier?" You know?
What's the you do flips
No flips.
at all?
I'm scared. I'm scared of flips because I'm scared to do flips in the declining market. Because what's the floor?
Man, 2020 to 2023, it was
Yeah, but we in 2020. I'm talking right now.
No, I agree.
And then you got to have the right team.
No, you do. Do you have general contractors?
I have a GC who I'm cool with, but I didn't have an architect. And then this was COVID time, so all the architects are busy. My main architect actually died of COVID.
You don't have to build from scratch. You could just rehab a existing.
Yeah,
property.
but even them gut rehabs in the city, like, and we have different municipalities and cities, but like city of Miami is very hard to work with. Now, unincorporated Miami-Dade County, they're a little easier, but to the city of Miami, they're very difficult and bureaucratic. So I just didn't have the team to support me. Now, I did actually try my hand in new construction with the team that I did have, and the whole thing was a debacle. I ended up selling the land and just getting out of it with my life, because I'm paying property taxes. I'm paying the architect who's not producing. It's going on and on. He keeps giving me, moving the goalposts. "Oh, yeah, you need to do this. You need to do this." So I sold the land kind of at a loss and just got out of it and said, "You know what, Natasha, in the future, just buy a house that's already built and move on."
Have you tried wholesaling?
No, I haven't. I've met a few wholesalers. I understand it, but I don't really know the business. And I've kind of encountered a few wholesalers trying to sell me deals. But I don't wholesale.
Do you have realtors under you with your broker license?
No, so I have a broker's license, but I still have my license with the broker because it's the liability, and most realtors don't really produce.
But I mean that's not on you though. You could just,
when they do be there to collect the check.
Yeah.
But I still have to maintain the overhead of the office. I still have to be responsible for their fiscal activities. For example, if you're working for Natasha's brokerage, you go get somebody's deposit and then you go spend it, that's the board is going to come knocking at my door. You know what I mean? So I just feel uncomfortable being responsible for all of these people and their activities. I don't know, if you know, but like Miami, Tampa, and Atlanta are like the fraud leaders in the country. So I just am very funny about like taking people's money. Like I want everything to be very clean. And I can't control what you do as a realtor on my behalf, but then whatever you do, I'm responsible for it.
I see what you're saying. I mean, you just gotta vet them,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So how many more doors you plan on obtaining?
Well,
or you done?
I have 4, so I'm thinking maybe 7 or 8. And then I'm done.
So you're done at 8 doors?
Yeah, and I know you have 11.
Yeah, I got 11.
And so tell me about what you're trying to do, because I saw that and I'm like,
I want 20 and I'm cool.
So how did you come to that number?
I feel like they say like in 2050 or 20 that rents are gonna be like 45, 5,000. That's the average median rent. So if I got 20, I'm making 5,000 a house. I think I'll be good.
No, you're right. You're right.
So yeah, and then all my houses should be paid off by then. So
that's a good point.
I'll be good.
And what's your management team like?
I got my realtor Crystal. She manages the tenants that I don't want to deal with, that I don't like. So I just send them to her.
Okay.
And I deal with the ones that I like, that I'm cool with.
So of the 11, how many do you manage personally?
Probably like and then she managed it.
No, you don't like nobody. I thought you was gonna say 6.
Nah, they be text me like late at night, you know, like
They do
11 o'clock, and then women, you know, they do.
They got other ways to pay for the rent.
Yeah, I'm not finna play them games, so I gotta send them to her. So anyway, so you said 8.
Yeah, I think like if I get a triplex or a quadplex, I think I'm gonna sit down. And the other thing is that I run other lines of business. I run the credit repair. I also have a e-commerce company that's kind of just a legacy of a different company. So I tell people like between dealing with credit clients all day, having landlord issues, you know, Trump with these tariffs and causing import-export issues.
Did the government free? I mean,
the government's closed.
Did that affect you with your tenants?
For some clients, I have to do FTC reports, so that has been an issue with that. But in terms of like the eviction, they ended up going to some government agencies who's going to pay their rent or something. So I haven't been immediately impacted. But it is kind of scary to just know that right now things are upside down and you don't really know where to go next, you know?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, that's cool. How many mentees you have?
I have only had 3.
3?
3.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. The thing is with me as a mentor, and this is maybe probably different from most mentorships, is like, let's say you come to me, but your focus is credit, fine, or your focus is real estate, or your focus is I want to start a business. I still look at you as a person 360 because I think like on Instagram, for example, there's this emphasis on do, have, you know, but let's take a step back. Like, is this person even qualified to do all these things we're telling them to do? Do they have the self-esteem? Are they dealing with problems at home? One of my mentees who I was running down to sign up, she was like, I just had a baby. Like, you know what I mean? So before we try to push people into like mentorships and even entrepreneurship, there needs to be a stable enough baseline because like owning 11 doors, like you could say it into, you know, it might sound easy, but the practical day-to-day of owning 11 doors, I'm sure sometimes she'd be like, oh, hell, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This is a lot. So when we talk about mentorship, like I'm really getting in on them. I'm like, you know, and I have a mental health background. So I'm looking at finances. I'm looking at behaviors. I'm asking them about daily habits. Are you working out? What's your BMI? Family relations? What's your career orientations? And then, of course, as a African-American woman who's been out here, I know sort of the threats that lay around and you could really not make it out here. So I really try to be comprehensive with people. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way because they just want to come in and get, but I'm like, I see it all day. I could fix your credit today. You will be back in 3 to 6 months.
So you really care about your mentees, is what you're saying? Yeah,
and I want them to really be successful.
Okay.
I want them to really, I mean, my vision for all of them is really to be millionaires.
That's the goal.
Because like if we talk about a city like Miami, if you own 3 properties, you have $1 million in equity. So like, why not? Why not?
Where you see yourself in 5 years?
I wasn't ready for that question. Well, what's interesting is that I started trying to figure out like, okay, how do people retire? Like, what do I need to have in place? So I spoke to a few financial advisors and they're like, you know, you need to pick a number. You need to say, hey, I need 20,000 a month. I need 40,000 a month. I need 10. Whatever your number is, pick that number. That's first. And then start to work backwards. So I'm trying to figure out what my number is. It feels like my number is so high. I don't know. It's somewhere between like 20 and 30.
20, 30 a month?
But it's not just for me, but it's like to keep the whole
for your family?
Empire and the real estate going, you know, just to keep everything going, you know? To me, it would be at least about 25,000, which is about 300,000 a year.
That's not bad.
That's what I'm saying. It's not crazy.
That's obtainable.
But it's work is involved. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to just get things to that point, maybe pick up another multifamily and then kind of sell on out in terms of retirement. Like,
So you're gonna sell when you're about to retire is what you're saying.
I'm never probably gonna retire. Let me stop lying. People don't retire no more.
Nah, they don't. They don't.
Because like I look at the credit business, like I'm only getting bigger. Like people call me every day to this week. My cousin referred me to you. Oh, you do my brother, auntie, sister, they referred me to you. My cousin so how do you just leave that? Like, and when I'm gonna retire and play golf, like what do you do in retirement? Yeah. Get old and depressed.
Take care of your grandkids, Make sure.
First, I still gotta have a baby too. That's the other thing. So this is what I'm saying. I need to go have a baby, get the lineage ready, get my trust ready.
No, absolutely.
So,
everybody wants a legacy.
Yeah, so definitely the kind of speed up temporarily, but then ultimately slow down is like kind of my retirement vision. But then I'm still unsure about the vision for retirement because, again, most of the people who I see who are retirement ready, they don't want to retire, including my mom, including my goddad. They just still have it in them to help people and do something, even if it's just volunteering.
How's your mom feel about what you achieved, what you accomplished?
My mom is very supportive. She's very critical, but she'll say little remarks like, well, at least you're still trying to do something, And so sometimes I'll go to her and try to ask her to partner on deals with me. Like I approached her about the triplex earlier this year and she gave me $5,000 towards escrow. I ended up giving it back to her. But she's like, as she wrote me the check, she was like, at least you trying, So I'm like, she sees that I'm one of her children who wants more and she tries to support it.
That's cool.
And she believes in me. So she can be very critical, but I know she believes in me.
Okay. How many mentees do you plan on obtaining, or are you just cool with the 3?
The thing is, I'm big on a match.
Okay.
Like, I want, how they say everything you want you back? I want the mentees who want to be on what I'm on. I have a mentee, she just bought her first duplex. This
is in Miami?
In Miami. And she started in the beauty industry similar. She was one of my students in the beauty industry. She went on to become a realtor and now she just bought a duplex. This is the kind of young woman who I would want to mentor because she's showing not only trying, which I don't put much faith in, but actually getting out here producing and doing. So I would take 5 of her over 10 of, I'm just trying in one day. Because I'm very outcome oriented.
Hands-on.
I want to see the output. I'm not a try person either. And that's something I learned from my dad. Either you do it or you don't. But he would sit and tell me, Tasha, if you're going to try, just cut it. Don't even waste my time because you already setting yourself up to say you couldn't do it.
Smart man.
Yeah, so I try not to play in the tries because it's almost like giving yourself an escape before you even get started.
Do you have any mentors? Anybody you look up to?
I have actually paid mentors, and especially in the credit space. Outside of the credit space, I have a few mentors, but mentorship is very important. And what is important about mentorship, I think, what I've learned, you borrow your mentor's confidence, for one. You borrow their acumen, the logistics of how to do stuff. That's in part why I'm here today is because one of my mentors was like, y'all need to be on the podcast circuit because podcasts last forever on YouTube. It's long form content and people get to know you, in depth versus a 2-minute snippet on Instagram. So I love mentorship. I love mentoring people. And I think we all should kind of have a mentor because as we grow through different phases, you kind of need different people to tell you what to do next. Now, I also have a therapist. She's not a mentor, but she's an older woman. And she just looks at stuff completely differently than I do,
Okay.
Which I appreciate.
So how much you think you invested in mentorship?
10, 6, like 17,000.
17,000. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all. I paid somebody a nice little chunk of change.
How much have you paid in total? And then I know there's more for me to spend. It's a program I'm eyeing now for 20,000. I just know I need to get my boots on the ground and do some more legwork. You know, like, well, I'm going to the next level of mentorship and I'm not running paid ad. It's certain stuff I just need to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm aware of that, and I'm not going to just get in people's face. I'm the new mentor to just be in your face. Like, I need to do. The mentorship is about doing, not about just sitting there. What can you give me? No, what can you inspire me to do that I actually get up and do it and I produce the results and come back to you and then say what to do next.
I like that. Real estate or wholesaling?
Well, real estate is wholesaling.
Wholesale is more specific. Real estate is just okay. Rental properties are wholesaling.
I'll rental properties because I don't know much about wholesaling.
Okay.
But I do know that it's you're less involved.
Mm-hmm.
So, but buy and hold because I'm looking for equity long term and I'm looking for income long term.
Real estate or stocks?
That's something I've been struggling with because one day I was dealing with the tenants and I was like, what about if I sell all this and put it in the index fund?
That'll work.
I don't got to worry about all these fees and taxes and this and that. So I've been doing some research on it. I have a stock portfolio. I have a crypto portfolio. But I've just been looking at like, you know, stocks are another way people get wealthy. So.
Okay. Miami or Houston?
I was looking at moving at Houston at one point. One of my best friends lives here. But for right now, it's South Florida. I actually live a little north of Miami. I just relocated to Boca Raton, Florida, which is kind of like a retirement community. But I might be going back to Miami. So I'll say Miami.
Okay, that's cool. Credit or cash?
I would say cash backed by credit. Because as you know, in real estate, it's so many opportunities you have if you have cash ready liquid.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Mario. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you for coming.
All right.
You have a nice day.
You too.